tactically, what did that actually look like? How did you get people into your community? How did you drive traffic whenever you don't have, like you say, you're not like a 2 million sub YouTube guy?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest strength was that the strategy that I've used forever that we brought up earlier, which is just providing value to people over time without expectation, because then people know who I am and what I do. So even if I'm not trying to sell anything, at that point, they knew I was Ryan and they knew that I successfully was lending money. Those are things that people knew.
And like, who are these people? Where do they know you?
Like on Facebook groups. So this is, I call it like the watering hole method.
Okay.
I still use this method to this day. It's my biggest, I still don't have a following, to be clear. But the watering hole method is basically finding where your audience already is. Because when you create content, there's a million things. You got to have a hook and a thumbnail, and you got to do all this stuff right. And even if you do it right, there's a good chance nobody sees it, right? But if you go to a Facebook group or a school community where there's a bunch of people, then you can literally just walk in the front door and they're all listening. And you can do that with comments, you can do that with posts, but you can do that in the watering hole that they're already in.
Right.
And so I have religiously used this method, and it's what I did then, and it's still what I do now, which is I go into the watering hole. I go into groups where the people inside of those groups are the people that are my audience. And then I just provide pure value. And then on top of that, I add authority. That's my two things. So I'll start with my proof. Hey, I made a bunch of money. I did this. I quit my job. My wife quit her job, whatever. That's my authority. And then I'll literally say, if you want to do the same, here's 3 things you can do today. And I'll give action steps. And then that's it. And I do it religiously all the time. And then those people reach out to me. I send them to my free community, and then that's how I built it up.
Crazy. So let's talk about different places that you can go to watering holes. So Facebook groups. So how many Facebook groups would you be in your niche?
As many as there are that are actually effective. I think, I could go on about my Facebook strategy forever because it's way more tactical than people think, but every Facebook group has a different vibe. So some of them are transactional, right? Nobody cares who you are. They just care that you're going to sell them a deal, give them a stock trade, whatever it may be. Then there's communities, right? Which is more of the school vibe. And when you get into a community, it's more like people are willing to listen. They want to know who you are. I have approached those as my primary. And so anytime I can find those, I'm going to be a part of them, or at least I'm going to look and see kind of what's going on in them. But I personally don't use this strategy until I've been a part of a community and established myself with value first. And that's the long game play.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Commenting on everything I can, posting more value posts, becoming friends with admins in groups. And just, I think anybody watching this that has a community on Skool, especially, like those people that are in your community that like basically work for you. I'm that guy. Right. And
You're the miner, bro.
And it's not a week and it's not a month. It's like time. It takes time to do that stuff. But
when you're making posts, so like how many like active groups would you be in at a time?
Just a couple, like 3 or 4.
And whenever you're making posts, would you post the same post over the different groups, or always unique posts? Well, how do you work that?
I'll post the same posts, but slight variations. Like vary the hook or something. I don't do the like copy paste stuff.
Cool.
Because I'm very in depth with my Facebook posting, and so each group has a slightly different vibe to it.
Yes,
and I will alter my post based on that.
Okay, and instead of going on like 50 groups, there's probably not 50 groups in your niche, but if we pretend there were, you choose like a couple very high quality ones and you just want to go really hard on them.
Yeah, the most potent, because I can't do what I do in 50 groups.
Right.
I've spent a lot of time establishing myself. So I'm pretty niche down. It's only a few.
So other examples of watering holes, Facebook groups are great. Other school communities?
School communities, local meetups is a huge one. If you have a niche, so in real estate, local meetups is pretty big. Like there's probably a meetup every night in most cities for real estate. So if one of those meetups is in your niche, in your watering hole, then going to those is another huge one. It's IRL too. So you can get that face-to-face. Low leverage, right? But it can be outsized returns as well.
Very cool. Yeah. Anywhere else that you've used?
For watering holes, not really. Then it goes to content after that. Okay. Yeah.
And Kirby talks about a few other places you go for a watering hole. It could be like a Reddit community, could be LinkedIn groups, could be actually commenting on the posts of influencers that are connected to your niche. So like I said, watering holes, watering people. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
you're
the big hippos that are hanging around the watering hole that attract your people.
Yeah, you borrow eyeballs. It's borrowing eyeballs. And if you can borrow the eyeballs, because like YouTube, it takes forever, years to build that up. So if you can borrow eyeballs for those years, and the key is while you're borrowing those eyeballs, build up the foundation behind it.
There it is.
That's what you have to do.
Right. So how did you then transition into content, and why, and at what stage, and what's your content strategy?
Yeah, I'm no professional at content. I still have no following. So, I mean, how I transitioned into it was I just...
So why is content valuable for you?
Because it's the place where I can be myself and I can share whatever I want. And people, you know that when people meet you, I'm sure for the first time, and they're like, I feel like I already know you. That's what content does, right? It's like I can say whatever I want. I can be myself. People can get to know me. And if they don't like that, good. Because then at least they know that beforehand, right?
Yeah. So what did you start with content?
YouTube. YouTube is the main one. It's super uncomfortable. It's like very difficult. And so I just tried to simplify it as much as possible and do videos where I didn't edit anything and I just kind of talked about what I was doing. And that I still have maintained that and I'm still learning a lot. But everything I do is just like, here's how I made 50 grand. Here's how I lost 50 grand. Here's a mistake I made. Here's a good thing I did.
Proof.
And that's every week for me on YouTube is I just talk about it.
Welcome back to State the Facts and Tell the Truth.
Yeah. That's pretty, I mean, I'm a blunt dude, so that's basically what it is.